What's good, Elevators? It's your boy Elevation here with another episode of the JBP Elevated, where we speak on the Joe Budden podcast and all of his co-hosts on and off the pod. No. Guys, I'm sorry. Y'all know I get on here every week saying, Joe, you need to sign her. Joe, you need to sign her. Joe, you need to sign her. I must think Joe's the richest man in podcasting. But if I've ever meant it when I said it, today's the day. Joe, you need to sign Mona. You need to get her over here expeditiously. I don't care. Don't call me white girl. Hey, what do we do when we get a car and we're making payments on that car and then we're like, man, I don't like this car no more. I want a new one. But you haven't paid the previous car off yet. You can still get a new car. You just roll over the payments, right? Hey, Joe, go to Don't Call Me White Girl, whoever produces that show, say, I'm going to buy her out. Let's roll over the payments. The remainder of her contract, y'all go ahead and keep that. I'll pay her for the remainder of the contract and then get her over here on an extension. I'm not playing. Her energy was felt immediately. And shout out to Mona because she said, I already know y'all gonna pit me against Mel, and I want to meet Mel. I want to actually be her partner. So if I come here, she doesn't have to leave. And this would help Mel out immensely because everybody looks at Mel, oh, they dog pile Mel, and they do view her as the woman voice. They want her to speak on all the woman topics. It would be nice for her to have counteractive with Mona, so we can both speak on this shit. And you already know Mona's gonna say exactly what the fuck she feels. She's gonna say exactly how she feels. It's gonna help Mel come out of her quote unquote shell. And then Mel, if you're listening, she's gonna help you claim your independence way faster. You should want her on the pod. You got to get that out their head that you could be the only female here on this podcast. Even though at the end of the day, it's up to Joe. Mona. You know who else would benefit from you showing up on the show? Flip would immediately benefit from Mona being on the show. You could already see how tense he was when he saw Mona because her energy. It's like an aura. It comes off of her. Flip would be able to turn up. Hey, Flip, I know you watch this too, sir. Pay attention to what I'm about to tell you. Get out your feels when it comes to Mona because I see you're in defensive mode for some reason because you view yourself as the energy of the pod. Imagine if you had a female counterpart that did the exact same things you did and you would be able to feed off her. Hey, Flip, the things that you try to do on Flip the Network that you feel that you can't do on the JBP, you would be able to because of Mona. You would be able to get your brand off while rebranding at the same time. You would have elements of your old self and be able to infuse them with elements of your new self and be a better version of yourself. You should want Mona on the pod the most. But Joe, like I said, I feel like you're the richest man in podcasting because you have figured out the Patreon model. The only other people that I feel figured out this Patreon model in this manner is Shane Gillis. And they are like the most subscribed to people on Patreon. Patreon is the mode. So you figured out the Patreon model. That's why I keep telling you to sign all these people that you're bringing. Because we all in the audience feel that we need some type of a jolt. We need to wake this shit up again. And Mona would absolutely be the missing piece for that. Guys, I'm this hype over an episode with a guest, and I have never been this hype over an episode with a guest. A lot of y'all have told me that y'all have subscribed to Patreon based off of things that I've said. If you have not subscribed, this would be the episode to subscribe to. And no, I'm not getting paid by Joe Budden. I get paid by speaking on Joe Budden. There's a difference. So this is me being honest. Mona's energy would jolt the podcast back to number one status because we all say that Joe Budden's number one, but we're not saying this current iteration of the podcast is number one because it's not. The energy that she would bring would change that immediately. Shout out to Joe for listening to the channel because I just spoke on Ish having a resting bitch face when it came to that Sean Garrett interview. Lo and behold, it's the title of today's episode, and Joe immediately calls it out when Mona asks him a question. Ish, you get paid to speak, sir. And I'm not gonna, this isn't a ISO on Ish because it was just that one moment that Joe called out because Ish he was jovial after that. But it's a thing because you didn't want to take any fault on what happened with you and Sean Garrett. Shout out to Danny, because he spoke on his documentary style video that he dropped yesterday. I see the direction that you're going, nigga. Salute. I see you. You're going to make me step my game up this summer. It's going to be a cold summer for a lot of you other niggas that ain't going to put in the work, because the turn about to be real. But anyway, I saw him speak on that as well with the Sean Garrett interview. Your face speaks volumes. Just because you don't say things doesn't mean you're not saying things. And until you watch the playback, you're not going to realize what it is that we're talking about. You're just thinking that we're picking on you. We're not. Trying to make you a better potter. Mona, direct message from me to you, because clearly you watch shit like this too, because you immediately was like, how do you feel niggas out there making thousands of dollars a month off of you? And I'm one of those niggas. Absolutely. Mona, I have a bias towards you. I'm just going to be honest. Because I share the same sentiment a lot of the guys in the comments had. Like, damn, I would slide her. Yeah, sign me up for that. Me too. And I have even more of a bias because you look, talk, and act just like my second baby mom. So I'm letting you know, if you're going to fire at me when you are added, because it's clear as day you're going to get added to the show. If you start firing at me, you're going to get the same antipathy that all these other niggas do. So be careful. But I am letting you know I do have a bias. That's in my wheelhouse. Oh my God, Mona. But yeah, her energy is going to revamp the pod in ways that we didn't imagine. We thought it was an old school pod. But everything's speculations. Everything's conjecture. It's just, they don't bring guests on there and immediately start speaking on why they want them there and they should be there and when is your contract up. They don't do that. So it's clear as day, her presence would be a huge bonus. The person that isn't going to benefit from this and that I see having an issue with this person, Parks. Parks. And Joe is slyly trying to get Parks out of the limelight, which is why he keeps trying to add more and more guests. If I was co-host. If I was one of the co-hosts, I would be super frustrated that Parks gets as much speaking time as he does. How does the nigga that edits the show get to speak on the show? When did Parks become such an integral part of the podcast? And this is not me hating on Parks, even though it is me hating on Parks. I just see things with Parks that other people don't see. He slyly and snidely talks to people. And Mona, I could already tell you, because like I said, she reminds me of my second baby mom. She's going to catch up on that immediately, and she's going to call him out. And Parks is he's going to hold a spot in his heart for her and be like, I don't like this broad. So we're going to have to pay attention to that going forward. And like I said, I haven't even finished today's episode. I don't get hyped for guest episode appearances. I don't. But I watch Don't Call Me White Girl, because her and Derek's dynamic, that shit is hilarious. The times Derek is on that pod, you'll see me watch that pod. But unfortunately, she doesn't have the same pool as a Joe Budden. Joe Budden is not the only podcast that I watch, but it is the only podcast that I'm willing to speak on. Because a lot of these other people, they don't have the virality of a Joe. They don't have the voice of a Joe. They don't have the pull of a Joe. Which is why when I'm telling people, I want you over here, I want you over here, I want you over here, that's a big deal. Because everybody is quick to tell me in the comments, Ray Daniels has a podcast already. Ian is rich. Ian tells me himself, nigga, I don't need this. Ian and everybody else that I say this to, I understand that. I do. But coming on Joe Budden can literally change your life, even though you're up already. Do you hear what I'm saying? Go ask Mark Lamont Hill what Joe Budden has done to his life. Just go ask that nigga. So when I say I want y'all to join the JBP, it's because the credit, he's a kingmaker. And shout out to Danny, because he spoke on that episode. He really is a kingmaker. Everybody that comes to my pod, when they leave, they're able to thrive if they put in the work while they were here. Shout out to Rory and Maul. Shout out to Mandy, who I think is another bad bitch that doesn't get enough credit. Shout out to everyone that was here, that continued to work and to continue to grind. They're in a better space now. If Melissa was to leave, she would be in a better position now than she was when she first got here. If Ice was to leave, if Ish was to leave, if Flip was to leave, it applies to everyone. So don't take it as a slight just because you have a podcast already. I understand that. But your podcast isn't on the same status as a Joe Budden podcast. It would be like if you work for a Honda dealership and somebody from Ferrari or Land Rover or just any of the luxury car brands was like, we are picking you to come work for us. There's a difference. But I appreciate y'all. Definitely, like I said, I already got another episode queued up. It's just, I just wanted to get my thoughts off on this very early because the energy, you can feel it immediately. So I wanted to get my thoughts off on this. Stay tuned. Later today, I got another episode queued up, and I might drop another episode after I finish this Patreon episode. Y'all stay tuned, man. This summer's gonna, whoo-wee. I think I'm playing, and I'm not. Y'all stay tuned. I appreciate the support. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe to the page if you haven't. Y'all don't want to miss out on what's coming up this summer. And if you have, you already know I appreciate you. You already know what it is with us. Y'all be safe out here. Peace.